patience, good humour at all times, tolerance and courtesy, while working in the best interests of our community. So welcome along to the first GB of the year. It seems like we've been here forever, even though this is the first meeting of the year. So we'll begin firstly with apologies. Now, actually, no, I'll begin by getting Sandra to do a roll call of who's on the call at the moment. Sandra, could you please conduct that?
Sure. Deputy Mayor Cashmore.
Present.
Councillor Bartley.
Morena.
Councillor Casey.
Morena, Sandra.
Morena. Councillor Collins.
Morena.
Morena. Councillor Combe.
Ke koneo. Kia ora.
Councillor Cooper.
Aye.
Councillor Dalton.
Present.
Councillor Darby.
I'm here.
Councillor Filipina. No. Councillor Fletcher.
Good morning.
Morning. Councillor Henderson.
Good morning.
Councillor Hills. Councillor Mulholland.
Good morning, present.
Councillor Newman. Councillor Stayers.
Present, thank you.
Councillor Simpson will be slightly late. Councillor Stewart.
Good morning.
Councillor Walker.
Present.
Councillor Watson.
Hi, Sandra.
Councillor Young.
That's me. Good morning, everyone. 大家早.
Good morning. And just a reminder, councillors, if you can indicate questions and comments in the chat bar, it just makes it a little bit easier for Mayor Phil to actually see who's requesting things. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that is easier than putting your hand up, actually. So thank you for that, Sandra. So apologies. I've got one apology for lateness. Councillor Desley Simpson on council business. Are there any apologies for early departure? Hopefully it won't be an extended meeting.
Kia ora me e wheso. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm hopeful that we'll get through most of it, but as you know, Councillor Bartley and I are due to visit Councillor Filipina's home today, so we may have to leave around midday, 1 o'clock. So I just thought to note it with you here.
No, thank you. Both you and Councillor Bartley had indicated that to me, so I haven't put it for early departure yet because I'm hopeful we may be finished by that time. I think Alf may be joining us briefly this morning, but as you'll be aware, Olsen came home from Australia yesterday, and I'll just say a few words about that shortly. So we've just got the one apology for lateness. Can I get somebody to move that, please? Councillor Collins has moved, seconded.
Linda Cooper.
Second.
Councillor Cooper. All those in favour, please say aye. To the contrary, no.
Aye.
Carried. Now, I do have just some acknowledgements to make at the first meeting of our governing body this year. And first to acknowledge the recognition in the New Year's Honours list of Councillor Alf Filipina and also Tony Kake, a member of the Independent Māori Statutory Board, both of whom were made members of the New Zealand Order of Merit. Alf being recognised not only for his council service and, of course, being, I think, the first person of Pacific and Maori descent elected to the Manukau Council and our own council, but also the first Pacific liaison officer for the New Zealand Police. And the honour is one, in my view, which is richly deserved for many, many years of service to policing, to rugby league and to public affairs through his involvement in the local authorities. Tony Kake, known to all of us on this call also, I think very deserving of recognition for the role that he's played in his community, particularly through the Papakura Marae, but involved not only with the great work that he's done on the marae, but also through chairing a range of community organisations, including the Youth Horizons Trust and the Community Impact Forum for the Department of Corrections. So acknowledging both of those two people who are closely associated with our council, I'd also like to acknowledge, firstly, as we did at the Planning Committee, the passing of Leanne Namane. I won't go much further than that because we paid an appropriate tribute to Leanne, but I think we're all feeling the loss of her sudden passing on New Year's Day of this year. But also coming back to Councillor Alf Filipaina, the loss of his brother Olsen. I was due to speak at the launch of his book at the Mangere East Hawks Rugby League Club, but unfortunately with the intervention of COVID, we weren't able to do that. But if you are a follower of rugby league, you'll know what a fantastic figure Olsen Filipaina was. I grew up in a family that were a league family, and he was absolutely the man, particularly against the Australian captain of the time, Lewis, who was also an incredible player, but he was more than a match for him. He was, in fact, regarded as one of the greatest Kiwi League players of all time. And I loved what Alf had to say about him, that our Heavenly Father needed a standoff for the rugby league team, and now he has the best. And I think that's absolutely true. But if you read his biography, O for Olsen, you'll see what an incredible role that he had as a pioneer for Pacifica in rugby league. You know, we all just take for granted that Pacifica are a hugely dominant force in rugby league, but not when he first entered the game. And he trailblazed for the Pacific community, and it was not always easy. And he was often up against prejudice, but he just did a fantastic job. So acknowledging the passing of Olsen.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, would you mind if I just said a few quick words too? I don't think the rugby league.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I guess just a couple of quick additions to you on the remarkable figure of Olsen Filipaina. As you said, as a rugby league player, he really had it all. He could run with the ball in hand. The preferred method was straight over the top of an opponent, particularly if that person was wearing an Australian jersey. But he also had great anticipation and evasive skills. He sure could tackle, and he could kick goals from all around the park. So Olsen was very much the complete footballer. But as the Mayor said, Olsen was really a lot more than that. He lifted people up. He inspired those who were around him, whether you were playing for Mangere East or the Kiwis. He consistently outplayed the very best in the world, yet always retained an incredible modesty that you can see if you look at some of the old YouTube videos. Yeah. He was a trailblazer in the NRL when times were very different and very challenging for people who were from the Pacific or Indigenous Australians for that matter. But more than that, he represented the very best qualities of a generation: loyalty, humility and sportsmanship. To people all over Auckland, Olsen was a real hero, no matter where you lived. Someone whose character and sporting legacy remains as strong now as it did 40 years ago. He was truly one of New Zealand's sporting greats and a great man. So condolences to all the Filipaina family. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, John, for those words, all of which I absolutely concur with. I didn't want to cut anybody else out. If there was, I've got somebody's hand up, and I'm not sure whose it is. Sharon, Councillor Sharon Stewart, please.
Oh, thank you. Really lovely words, John, what you just said about Olsen. Just something, I'd like to just, as a councillor who knew some of the Olsen's family, Olsen was actually my brother's best friend, and over in Sydney, when my brother was killed in a work accident, Olsen actually put one of his New Zealand jerseys in the coffin with my brother. They were best friends. They were really like brothers, and Olsen's really missed by a lot of people here and over in Australia, and some of my family over in Australia. So rest in peace, Olsen. You're really missed.
Yeah, thank you very much for that too, Sharon. And there will be a service at the Memorial Gardens on Monday, I think, starting at 3, going through to 4:30. There may be some restrictions on numbers because we're at traffic light red level. But if you were keen to go, maybe contacting Alf and seeing if that's a possibility would be the appropriate path to follow. So thank you very much to John and Sharon for those comments. And we're all thinking about Alf, and just fantastic the way Alf turned up and chaired his PACE meeting last week, even in the midst of this impending tragedy. So absolutely a mark of Councillor Filipaina's commitment to his job. On a slightly happier note, I'd just like to, on behalf of councillors, congratulate Daniel Newman on his pending marriage to Lizzie, and it was great, Daniel, to see Lizzie on the screen with you at a meeting yesterday. So all the best to you for a very happy occasion on your marriage, and every best wish from all of us for your future lives together. So I won't ask you to speak about that, although you're more than welcome to if you wished. We're coming now to 19th of March is coming up fast. You lose a certain amount of your freedom at that stage, but you gain a whole lot more, Daniel. My experience of married life. Declaration of interests. Are there any councillors that need to declare an interest in any issue that we are discussing today? If not, we come to confirmation of minutes. We have the minutes of the 16th of December 2021 and the extraordinary meeting of the 8th of February 2022. Can I ask somebody to move that we accept those minutes as a true and accurate record?
Yep, I'll move, Kathy.
Casey move, and second, I think I've got Angela Dalton. I think I saw Angela move her hand on the screen. It's a very small part of the screen. So it's moved and seconded. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 To the contrary, no. I declare that carried. There are no petitions. There was one request received for public input from Sunny Koshal in regard to the City Rail Hardship Fund. The advice to me from our officers is that request be declined under Standing Orders 7.7.3a, 7.7.4a and 7.7.4c, as the matter has already been considered and decided, meaning that the request does not comply with standing orders. And additionally, that the hardship fund that we set up is a separate process which is administered by City Rail Link, where the applications are considered not by us but by an independent body, and they're considered on a case-by-case basis. Local board input, none has been received. Extraordinary items, I have not been advised of any extraordinary items.